Hey everybody, I'm Madalyn Sklar, host of the Social ROI Chat presented by Managed Flitter. I am here with our special guest today, Meghan Monaghan. Hey Meghan, how are you?
Hey Madalyn, great to see you.
This was an awesome chat. Fingers are sore now after speed typing for an hour. How do you feel after all of that, awesomeness?
I feel, I mean, people's answers were incredible, and you're right, typing was just crazy. So it was good because I needed to keep my hands warm. So that was helpful. But yeah, it was intense. But I think that there was a lot of great conversation going on.
There really was. We have such a great community of people. It is so amazing. Shout out to Managed Flitter for presenting such a great chat each week. I love being the host. I love helping to find these amazing guests like yourself, and the team at Managed Flitter puts together really great topics and questions. And this was a great topic today. The topic is Twitter content in 2018, what you need to know. And, you probably feel the same way I do, that Twitter is kind of back into a renaissance, right?
Yes.
Like it seems like this big revival.
Yes.
Everybody's coming back. Well, there's people like us that never left Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, we've been here all along, but it seems that a lot of people started with Twitter. They went on to other platforms, especially Facebook. And with all the changes going on at Facebook, it feels like they're circling back around and coming back over to Twitter. And there's so many great features. There's so many things you can do with Twitter today that can really do so much for your career. So I just thought this was a great topic today, talking about Twitter content. And boy, I can't wait to dive into this because you shared excellent stuff today, Meghan.
Oh, thank you. This is one of my favorite topics, and you know that Twitter is my favorite platform of all. I've tried other platforms, but I just can't seem to get, I can't really network as well as I can on Twitter. You're talking to people directly. It's just so much easier the way that the platform works, how it's formatted. So yeah. And for me, I just believe that content really is everything at this point.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And we've got some of our community members here right now that were on the live chat. And I says that she learned so much from you today, which is just wonderful. And Jim says that when the chat started, those gloves had full fingers.
That's so true.
That was some fast typing today. So before we jump in with the questions, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been working in marketing for over 20 years. And I've been with large corporations, small businesses, even nonprofits. And then as the CEO and founder of Smartbird Social, I work with much smaller business marketers and usually solo entrepreneurs, helping them create awesome digital content to attract and acquire more customers online. Personally, I am a Greyhound rescue advocate, a Galgo rescue advocate. A Galgo is a Spanish Greyhound, and I'm a Netflix binge watcher. I'm a vegetarian, and normally I don't look like the brawny man, but it is flipping cold in Virginia today. So I have on my fleece line flannel shirt.
Hey, it's all about being nice and warm, comfy, especially when you're on a Twitter chat, right?
Yes.
Although I did tweet that the chat was on fire today. Oh my gosh.
I think it was. It was nice and warm from that.
It really was. Such a great community. And I see more of our community members are coming in here. Stacy is here. Stacy DePaulo, so great to see you here with us. And Louise, who's all the way over in the UK.
Louise was on fire today herself.
She was. She was sharing lots of great wisdom today. So let's kind of dive into this topic. And let's kind of start with the basics. Why is it important to have a Twitter content plan?
I think that without a plan, you don't know what to tweet. And I see a lot of businesses tweeting randomly without any kind of thought behind what they're putting out there. And I actually think that's harming their businesses. So I think it's always actually easier to start with why. Why are you on Twitter? Why are you tweeting? And then who are you tweeting to? And then work your way down from there. And that actually makes it so much easier to figure out what content is going to work for your brand and build your community. And then, of course, it's trial and error, right? So you're going to try some things are going to work, some things aren't, but at least you have some, like I said, a compass to know which direction to go when you start with plan.
I love that. And then you also mentioned during the chat, answer 4 questions to start your plan. Why are you posting content on Twitter, which is your goal? This was really so well written, by the way. Who is your content for? And that's your target market. What are you trying to accomplish, which is your strategy? And how are you going to accomplish it, which is your objective? You know, having a plan is so incredibly important. I mean, you know, we all know that saying, you know, if you don't plan, you're going to, you know, was it the failed plan thing? I can't think of the total line off the top of my head, but you've got a plan. If you don't plan, you're going to fail. Can you kind of go a little bit deeper on when you were talking about those 4 questions that I just read off?
Sure. You know, I will say that I think that people feel overwhelmed by a plan. So in other words, if you go Google content marketing plan or social media marketing plan, it could be overwhelming when you read the results. So I like to start with these 4 questions because I honestly think that even though they're very basic and simple, they're extremely effective in creating content that your fans love. I know personally when I've followed these 4 questions and answered them, it's improved my content significantly. So what I like to do is when you're looking at the why, you're going to have a couple of different whys, right? You're going to be on Twitter for a few different whys. It's not going to just be one. And so you can take that why and then associate, you know, your target market might change a little bit, but probably generally speaking, it'll be the same target for most people. But you can actually come up with different content types based on your why and your what. And then, you know, you develop your Twitter content is actually in the how, you know, how are you going to accomplish this? What are you going to tweet that's going to help your why and your what and let your who know, you know, what it is about you that's so great and how you can help them.
Right. What are the types of Twitter content that's effective now in 2018?
I really think that a long time ago, you used to be able to just put a blog post title out there and a link. I think people have no time left. So they want you to, instead of just tweeting links to different articles, they want you to give them a little summary and let them know if they need to click for more information, but maybe that little morsel of information is enough for them. So I really like those informational snippets is what I call them. I also think that quotes work really well. Of course, motivational and inspirational quotes are always popular. However, I'm just talking about quotes like little chunks of content from your blog, from presentations you've done, from your lead magnets. These things are things you've already written. Why not go ahead and use them on Twitter? Because this kind of educational and motivational, inspiring, and just resource information is what really helps other people learn in a short way, in a short amount of time.
I totally agree. Absolutely. How can marketers use Twitter content to sell without pitching? You know, so many people get on all the different social media platforms and they're really bad about just, you know, it feels like a one-way street, right? All they're doing is trying to sell. So what are ways that we can try to sell without it coming off as a pitch?
You know, I think that, and I had said this in the chat, I believe that people want proof. So you can't expect them to buy off of a tweet. It's just not going to happen. I mean, it might happen for an e-commerce store. They have a different scenario going on. But for the general business owner, people need you to show them what you know, what's so awesome about you. And I like to think of it as a food sample, right? So it shows your fans what you have to offer by giving them a little taste first. And then I've had people say this to me before, and I believe it's true across the board. Oh my gosh, your free content is amazing. Your paid content must be awesome. So that's how I think of Twitter content, right? This is your opportunity to give everybody a little food sample, whet their appetite, and get them onto your website, into your sales funnel, or where you want to do the selling. Social media is for being social. It's not for direct selling. I personally just have never had success, and I actually have tried in the past, not a lot of direct selling, but some promotional sales tweets, and they just have not been effective at all. So I tried this other method, and it's really worked for me. And I think you said it works for you too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you got to experiment to see what works. You know, what works for one person may not for somebody else. You got to try different things and find that thing that works for you. Why does your Twitter content matter so much?
Well, I think that people only know what you tell them. So
Yeah.
when you choose to tweet something, you need to make it worthwhile, because that's what people then know about you. Perception is reality. So whatever you're putting out there on Twitter is what people are going to know about you. So you have to be very strategic and purposeful when you're tweeting. I think a lot of people don't understand that, especially because with Twitter, Twitter can accommodate so much content that I think that people become overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, what else should I tweet? And so they end up kind of going off away from their compass in a different direction because they need more content. So I think that you are what you tweet. I always say that. That's like,
I like that. That's a tweetable. That's a tweetable. Somebody needs to go tweet that right now. That's really good.
Because, there used to be that saying, you are what you eat. Well, I say you are what you tweet, because honestly, when somebody comes to your news feed to check you out, they look at your feed, and that feed paints a picture for them of who you are as a person, who you are as a brand, and what you can do for them. And so I think it's important to really treat your content with respect.
I love that. I think that really, really great point. How can brands and businesses get more personal with their content?
This was an interesting topic, because I do think that people ask me this question all the time. They want to use their logo, and I'm always saying, if you can use your face, use your face. You need to humanize your brand as much as possible. So if you can use your face in Twitter, because it's easier to talk to someone's face than it is to talk to a logo. Another thing you can do is you can humanize your brand by associating a personality and a voice with it, and then kind of take on that persona and tweet with that persona in mind. So it's more like a human to human connection. That's really what people want and they expect on social media. We see that across the board now with algorithms changing to make sure that businesses aren't selling too much and that people are still being social.
Yeah, it's so true. And of course, we talked earlier on the chat about using video and live streaming video as a great way to really humanize a brand. I think we're going to see more of that in 2018. Don't you agree? Like big brands embracing it?
Oh yeah. I think that brands need to do it. And what's interesting is that I think that a lot of brands want to do these really highly produced videos. Yeah. And I don't actually think they need to do that. Actually, a small business, I was talking to a marketing director from a small business the other day, and I suggested, instead of hiring a very expensive ad agency, why not have the two founders do some Facebook Lives, because their audience is millennials, and the millennials would definitely appreciate the transparency. I don't think that you have to invest a buttload of money in video to make it successful. Of course, it needs to have a plan, but yeah, video is where it's at. It's where it's going, and that's what is so amazing about all social platforms, and of course, Twitter included. You can, have live video, talk to people with video reply day. I love that day, by the way.
Thank you.
And it's so much more impactful when it comes to moving the needle in your business faster.
Oh, so true. So for those of you that don't know, Video Reply Day is a hashtag I started last year, simply to get people to take time to reply to tweets with a video. So, we all get bombarded with tweets, people reaching out to us, putting at in your username, right? And so I like to try, it's hard because it's time consuming, but I like to try to spend time replying to them with a video tweet. And when you do that, you're totally humanizing your brand, and people, are so wowed by it because like you're basically personalizing the content to them. And there's nothing like it. So I just started the hashtag just to encourage people to do it. And then it turned into a community, which was amazing. So yeah, it just shows you the power of using video in your content. So I really think in 2018, we're going to see that increase dramatically. The last question I wanted to ask you, in your opinion, what are some of the biggest Twitter content blunders? I love this one.
Of course, no plan. No plan is going to lead you astray. You need the plan to know what you're doing. And you can kind of tell on Twitter who has a plan and who doesn't, right? I think you can. So I love variety in tweets, especially like I'm saying, when somebody goes to your feed, which doesn't happen all the time, but you don't want to just be tweeting constantly the same thing over and over again. Vary it. There's so many things you can do with visuals, slide shares, surveys, animated GIFs, of course, video, images. Use these tools to connect with people. And I think that really in 2018, I feel like one of the most important parts about content is engagement. The two of them go together hand in hand. I wrote a blog post about this the other day. If content is king, engagement is queen. Engagement, it just completely boosts your content, the value of your content incredibly. So I can't take it when people are on Twitter and they're just not engaging. They're just kind of broadcasting their content, not going that extra mile. Don't be there if you don't want to engage, because I just don't think that Twitter is for that. You could probably do that on other platforms, but I don't think it works on Twitter. And I can't take all those hashtags that are sprinkled throughout the tweet. That drives me crazy. Now we have space, push it to the bottom. And I really get peeved with politics. I completely understand politics, tweeting about politics, but for your brand, I honestly believe, I mean, people argue with me about this all the time, but I just don't think it's a good idea, because I think that you need to stay out of that. That's a totally different topic that's separate from your business. I like to keep it separate. I actually don't tweet about politics. So that is a peeve of mine. And I will actually unfollow and block people who have a lot of political tweets, because I just don't want to deal with it. But yeah, so I think that I covered all of those. Did you have any that you are really annoyed about?
Oh, well, when you, during the chat, did the hashtag one, that was great. Cause I love, like, you're like me, when you do an example of that, you make sure like that first sentence is like, they're all hashtags, like pound, do not do this, and like hashtag all the words. And yeah, that's like a big blunder right there. Like, don't fill it up with a bunch of hashtags. And you make a great point with that. We have all this space now. We got 280 characters. So I like when I see tweets that are spaced out. Who is one of our regulars on the Social ROI chat, she's really good at doing that in her tweets. Gabriela Cardoza, who's been on the chat before, but she hasn't been on it lately, but she comes on this chat in Twitter Smarter. She is like the queen of spacing out her tweets with the way she words them, and will do bullet points and things. And I think that is so cool. So I agree with you that, like, when people aren't using the spacing well, they're doing the hashtags. You also made a great point in one of your tweets. You talked about posting to your Twitter account from other platforms.
Oh gosh, it drives me crazy.
Oh, that is so old school. That is like so 2012, right?
Yeah, there's no place for it anymore. I just think that, especially the Facebook ones, you can't pull that content in. And so a lot of times the text is off, it's cut off or whatever. But, with Instagram, at least you can use an if this, then that to pull in the image. But darn it, yeah, those other platforms, they kill me. If you're on Twitter, be on Twitter. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. This has been really great just coming on the live stream here and kind of recapping the chat and just getting a broader answer from you on some of these questions that we had today. Thank you so much for joining us, being here, sharing all of this. And I really appreciate our live audience who is here. You guys rock. I love this community. And for those of you watching the replay, we really appreciate you coming on here and watching all the way through to the end. And I would love a huge favor. I would love if you guys would take a moment and hit the share button. If you look right below us right here, there's the share. If you would click on that, share this out to your community so they can see all of this greatness that Meghan and I are talking about with today's chat. Such a great topic. So, Meghan, what is the best way for people? I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but what's the best way for people to reach you?
Of course, Twitter is a great way to reach me, and they can also find me at my website, smartbirdsocial.net. But yeah, Twitter is probably the fastest way to find me.
I'm posting that right now in the comments here, and I'm going to pin it. So you guys can, if you're not already following Meghan, please be sure. She has a great Twitter feed. I'm just going to say it because I'm not just saying it. You have a great Twitter feed. You have listen, people can learn a lot. You have a great looking profile. It really stands out. You do the colors really well, very bold, really stands out. So people can learn a lot from you. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Madalyn, and thank Manage Flitter too.
Yep.
A great tool,
I'm
by the way.
Shirt.
I appreciate it. Yay! Look at that.
It's a little cold. It's a short sleeve shirt. It's a little cold. So I'm trying not to hide it in my hoodie here, but yeah, I'm wearing my awesome Managed Flitter shirt. We'll have a recap on Managed Flitter's website later in the week, and there will be a Twitter moment recap on my Twitter by this evening. So. Sweet. We love to do the recaps.
Thanks, will live on. That's great.
Yeah, thank you, Meghan. This has been a blast. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Meghan, for your time. And we'll be back next week. We have Shauna Ayala next week, who is like the king of Snapchat. So it's going to be a lot of fun having him on. So until then, we'll just see you out on Twitter like we always do. So bye, guys.
Bye,
see you
everyone.
next week.